In Ashland, there's always been a bit of disconnection due to the growth coming in bursts. But lately, that disconnection has been causing more problems than what's seen on the surface. The passenger harbor, the university, and even the marina are all suffering. There's two primary connections that are used to get to Birch Heights, and during rush hour, those get backed up so far that it takes forever to travel anywhere. With investment rising across Ashland, it's time to invest in connectivity. So today, we're going to build an elevated highway with a new interchange, extend the grid to connect to the opposite side, add a bunch more development, including big box retail, and much more. Let's jump in. Welcome back to Ashland, and this is going to be probably the biggest change in a while. Right now our neighborhoods are pretty disconnected, and it was kind of like that on purpose, and I wanted to improve it over time. Really, these areas were developed very, very separately and at different points in time. I'd probably say Birch Heights is our oldest area, and then Ashland Heights, Claywood, Cedar Heights, those are a lot newer. And then these suburbs would probably be like very, very, very new. Probably the newest development out of anything here. And then this probably would have happened after this entire area was developed, because you're probably going to develop the waterfront first. Anyways, we're going to draw a point right here and just cut off our highway, and we're going to need to enable anarchy. And honestly, we might as well just buy the tiles right now. They shouldn't be that expensive. About $2 million up front and $87,000 per month. Yeah, that's not too bad. And now what we'll do is we're just going to delete everything all the way back here. And now we can actually get rid of this little alleyway. And they should be equal, but they're not. That was the entire point of adding the alleyway, but whatever. So we're going to slope up to here. And this is just to make life a little bit easier. So we'll grab this middle point and just pull it all the way up. And now I'm going to do something that I consider an absolute atrocity. I'm going to get rid of all these trees for the short term because they're kind of in the way and it's making it really hard to see. Now next up, we're going to grab this point right here. We're going to level this not too far, but enough to make making a bridge easy. And then we'll do the same thing on this side, so they're roughly equal. Now we're going to grab one of our bridges, and I think we might as well go with... I'm thinking we might as well go with this one. So it's a 3-lane, one-way highway, so we'll need to use parallel mode. And I'm wondering, what does 1 unit of separation, or whatever this number is supposed to be? I imagine it's 1 unit. It kind of combines the bridges into one cohesive design, and 2 gives us the separation, but I think the separation makes it look just a bit too spaced out. I think I'm tempted to go with the 0.5. Yeah, we'll go with 0.5. And now we're gonna set our elevation to, I think, 20 meters. That should be enough to give us enough room for any ships or anything that might wanna go under to pass through. And I just wanna make sure these pillars are roughly equal and that we have 2 of them. I'm gonna place that in right there. And how did I get the angle? Is the angle decent? The angle is not decent, but I think we can still work with it. So now this bridge is gonna connect into this highway. And to do that, we'll grab just a normal 3-lane road. We'll enable our parallel mode. We'll go to 0.5 to try and match what we did over here with our bridge. I'm gonna start on this side. The only reason I wanna start on this side is just so I can get a decent slope up to the height that we need to be, which is 20 meters. We're gonna enable a constant slope. And right about here gives us 5%, which I think I'm happy with. Maybe it's even a bit too low. We'll see. Then we'll grab this side of the bridge and we're just gonna curve directly into this point right here. Okay, and how's it look? It looks pretty good. I'm worried about the height of this, but we'll move on to the next part and see if we need to adjust right here. So for the next part, we need to connect these areas up, and we need one main road that's going to do this. So let's actually get rid of our train line. I think this needs to be reworked anyways, and I think we'll leave it there for now. Eventually, I want the train line to go all the way down here, but right now we don't have anything developed here, and I think this is a really prime area for a lot of different things. So the way I've been looking at these areas is that they're obviously very disconnected. Over time and over the years, the connections would be improving, and essentially what we're doing right now is the Great Connection. So I don't want to disturb our current layout if I can help it. And really that's just to preserve what's already here. I kind of like when the grid is just a bit chaotic. It doesn't feel too perfect. looking at this, I think what we're going to do is we're going to connect into this point with a 4-lane road. And I think we'll start that 4-lane road from right here. So we'll sever this connection. And then we're also going to get rid of this roundabout right here, or cul-de-sac. We're going to upgrade this to be a 4-lane road. Now taking a look to see what our terrain is like, it's honestly not too bad, but we will be making an interchange here. So right up front, I'm just going to level this out to roughly be the same height across the board. And this is just a small little hill, but I want to try and preserve it if I can. And then what I think we're going to do is this will connect into here. It'll kind of snake its way down and meet up somewhere around here, which means this road needs to curve in. But I wonder, do we have enough height to make it through this without anarchy? We do indeed, nice. And there we go. All right, that's looking good. Now we just essentially need to connect into this point. Okay, so far so good. It's definitely got a bit of jank to it with all these little small tiny curves, but I kind of like it, so I'll keep it like that. Now we're going to upgrade this to be a 3-lane as well, and we'll probably upgrade this all the way down. Now at a later date, we'll go through and do a little bit of fixes with the lane mathematics, because right now it's kind of all over the place. But for the meantime, we're not going to worry about that. But we will fix this up just a bit. Okay, now for the interchange, I think we're going to keep it really, really simple. Let's start maybe on this side because it should be a bit easier. Before I do anything though, I actually want to slope up to this point. And that should make getting the on-ramps just a bit easier. So we have 4 directions to make. Let's start making them. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a point right here, and I'll go about 3 units out. I'll do the same thing on this side. We'll go about 3 units out and draw a point. And then I'm just going to connect these both in. Now we'll grab from somewhere right here, we'll go straight at a 180-degree angle, and then we'll just come in nice and clean. Now this needs to be 2 lanes, or at least this needs to have a small merging lane for these guys who are coming in on this side. Okay, that looks good to me. And now I want to cut this off right about here, and we'll swap this back to be a 1-lane. So essentially you're coming down this road, you're merging on, you have a good amount of time to merge into the left lane and then merge into the highway. And actually what we should do to make this even easier is to temporarily give ourselves 4 lanes. The only thing that I'm worried about now is how short this distance is. You essentially come from here, you get on, and you have a pretty quick merge to do, and then an immediate merge right after. I'm wondering if we can make this just a little bit better, and I feel like the only way we could make this better is to give it another lane, which isn't something I'm honestly excited to do, just because even if I give this another lane, it doesn't really improve its safety all that much, but there's still quite a bit of merging going on all at once. But in this current configuration, I just don't see a better way, so we will add this in. And I wish there was a car somewhere that would just get on. Are you getting on? No, of course you're not. All right, we can pretend. So we're driving, turning, time to merge over, things are looking good, we're turning along here, we're getting on this spot, we're getting over, then we're getting over again. Actually, that's not that bad. It's much worse than I thought it was, but honestly, yeah, it's not that bad. Okay, now we'll do this one right here. I think what we'll do is we'll make this a light intersection, and we'll give 3 lanes for turning, and we'll have only 1 go right and 2 will go left. Or actually, we could completely get rid of this right lane right here and instead make it a more sweeping movement. Again, we're going to remove unsafe, and we're going to remove this right turn. You have no reason to be turning right here. You have this little section right here. We'll remove unsafe from this, and this section probably will need lights because we're still going to send another connection into here. And this is where it's probably going to start to look way more ugly. And there we go, that's what we end up with. Yeah, it's definitely got some interesting quirks to it. Okay, and we're back. And I had to fix it up again, so if it looks slightly different, that's why. And now on this side, we're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, and let's take a look to see how everything seems. And yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem too bad. And what we could do to make this even more obnoxious is we could add a 6-lane road and then make those our merging points. And if we do that right about here, it should give enough room. And we'll just need to do a little bit of work to make this not be absolutely hideous. And I think we're going to ban the right movement here. As far as I can tell, there shouldn't be a reason to make it. As long as you're coming down here, you are able to just merge in directly. This one will keep, but maybe we'll upgrade this to be a 5-lane asymmetrical and give them a proper turning lane. Now I think I'd prefer if this was a 6-lane as well, so we both have our lanes for merging, but it's starting to look a bit weird. So I think what we'll do instead is just make it a 5-lane asymmetric, and we'll give the extra lane for this one merging in. So I think everything looks good. It definitely needs a little bit of love, which we'll give when we detail, but for now I think it'll do. All right, and now we have our train connection, and that's the one I want to worry about next. And essentially, I think we'll just send it alongside this bridge right here. It makes the most sense to me, even though we don't have anything out here yet. I want this to primarily be a passenger rail line, because that's currently what it is. So everything from right here up until roughly this point is all passenger. I think we actually have a passenger rail right here. So it's Birch Heights to Old Monroe, and where is it going? I don't even know where Old Monroe is. Yeah, okay. I think one of the things we'll want to do is upgrade this to be a 4-lane train track. Wow, what is going on over here? So many people walking on the highway. All right, and all these citizens walking along the highway kind of brings me to my next point. I've noticed that my performance has been slowing down crazily, and I'm wondering if it has anything to do with corrupted citizens. So I've seen this in the latest City Planner Plays video. I'm gonna refresh counts, and we have 8,000 corrupted citizens. Yeah, that's probably not too good. I am worried about using this though, because I know it can break things a bit. But also, if it can improve my performance, I'd be pretty happy to use it. I've already backed up my save. I'm going to click Clean Up Citizens. And again, this is terrifying. All right, and now it's done. And we can see that most of the citizens are actually gone. There's only one right here. Now we will see our population start to go down, but honestly not by all that much. And things are looking fairly stable except for what's going on over here. Oh wow, a truck actually got detached. It's in the... Oh, the SUV's trailer is actually in the ground. That's a bit rough. Alright, anyways, before I get too distracted. So we got our new interchange in, we've cleaned up our citizens, and it definitely feels a lot smoother. So now what I want to do is start extending this grid, and I'm going to try and mirror everything that happened over here. The first thing we need is an actual arterial, and I think we'll just connect the arterial maybe somewhere in here. I can't really see it going anywhere else, and we're going to have 2 of them running through here anyways, so I think that's a decent spot. And oh yeah, I made a pretend bike lane here. So I'll actually need to copy this road and send it all the way through. And there we go. There's our new arterial, and wow, it's definitely a bit broken, isn't it? And I think that's because this road is actually backwards. There we go. Now there's the new arterial. Ideally, we'd connect it into this road. Otherwise, we're just missing the access for no reason. And then this is 2 arterials intersecting with each other, so we will keep the lights, even though we don't really need them. And this improvement alone opens up so much connectivity for the harbor. It's honestly kind of crazy, because before you would essentially always have to funnel through this road if you were anywhere in this area. But now, no matter where you live, you can just follow our main arterial all the way down and get directly into the harbor itself. It's also another access point for all of our marina stuff. So I think this is a very, very big and welcome improvement, and I'm so glad to have it done. I've been staring at this little empty patch for a long time now. So now I think it's time to actually send in our rail connection before we extend our grid any further. And this will be a bit tricky because I think we'll need to make up roughly about 20 meters of elevation. Let's see, so right here, we're roughly at 60, and right here, we're actually only at 40, which isn't too bad, but we still need to go up another 20. So I think that roughly gives us 17 or 12, I don't know, I'm bad at math, roughly 12 to 17 meters of elevation that we need to pull up over this entire stretch, which isn't all that bad, I don't think. I think we should be able to do it pretty easily. And of course, we're going to start here. Now, part of Tygon's rail pack is all of these nice little bridges. So let's take a look and see what kind of bridges we have here. I immediately like this one. Immediately, I love it. It has a truss, arc, substructure, and stone pillars for supports. Yeah, I think it looks really, really good. So we're going to go up our 20 meters. And I just want 3 pillars. Yeah, that works perfectly. And I think we'll end our pillar support right here. And then we'll transition back to one of our normal tracks. Now, in an ideal world, I would just send this right alongside the highway, but I don't think that's going to work because we have a kind of an odd angle that we have to work from. And so for this to work, we're going to need to do something that looks probably a bit odd once we're done, and I'm hoping it won't. So we'll start from here. There's our new track, our new interchange, our new bridge, and I think it's looking pretty good. And now we're pretty much ready to start extending our grid. And we're going to follow the exact same pattern that's already happening in Claywood, so let's figure out what that actually is. So it seems like it's roughly 8 units. Yeah, about 8 units, and actually we should just be able to check from here. Okay, 8 units by 16. So we're going to follow that pattern all the way down. We'll try and curve into here, but we also have to be very mindful of the pillars and everything else we have going on. All right, so we're going to pump the brakes for a second on our grid because we need to start thinking about how this area actually connects into our arterial. Right now it's super disconnected and we can't accept that, so let's make some improvements. And first, I think really what we need is some sort of main road going through this area. Just looking at everything right here, I think this is the main road. So we're going to upgrade this one to be a 4-lane with a median. And we'll stop it right there because we're actually going to pull this road all the way back for now. And we'll delete this one too. And now we'll just finish this connection right here, right in at a 90. I really was trying to preserve as much as the road layout as I could, but if we need to deviate just a little bit, I think that's fine. Now we will have the lights here because we have 2 4-lane roads intersecting with each other. So I think having those lights is going to be important. Okay, now before we do any zoning, I want to get a bit of buildings in. And I'm thinking, honestly, this might be the perfect spot for one of our large sports parks, like this one right here. Right by the highway, just kind of screams where this should go. And we have our school right here too, so it's kind of like a double whammy. Now we need to mess with our road layout just a bit. But I think we could probably get something like this, maybe even like this, or we align it to this road right here. I wasn't going to initially do that, but the more I look at it, the more I think we should. So we'll delete these little sections, we'll turn our snap to roads back on, and we'll do something kind of like that. Now looking at this entire setup, I feel like we could actually give one more entryway into this parking lot, and I think we're just going to do it. So we'll add our 2 points right here. We'll stretch this all the way over to the road. We'll grab our little invisible road right here and just try and connect that directly in without breaking anything else. So we'll do something like that. And because the apex climbing is indoor, oh wait, it says outdoor climbing wall. Oh, that's rough. What's the building for then? Where's the outdoor climbing wall? A vertical haven for enthusiasts offering diverse climbing paths from beginner to extreme challenges and an outdoor climbing wall. I think either way, this is the one we'll place closer to our highway, just because this one has a whole entire outside seating arrangement, and it looks fairly nice. And I can imagine this is a place where a bunch of kids would go to hang out during the week or the weekend, so I don't really want to place it right beside a highway. I also think this asset has TVs on it as well, so good luck hearing it over the traffic, but we will place this one. Now I think I'll grab our wide alley just to test it out and see how it looks, and we'll snap into this point right here. Yeah, and I don't mind it. I think it definitely needs a little bit of work with detailing, but once it has that done, I think it'll look pretty nice. And I want to make this a cul-de-sac if I can, and I can, so I will. And then while we're here, we might as well add just a bit more parking because again, we're right beside the highway. I'm not really worried about it. I don't think this is very valuable land. And then this time I'll just grab a normal alleyway. I'm going to turn off all snapping. I'll enable the markers so I can actually see what's connecting and where it's connecting. And then we'll just do something kind of like that right there. Now that should give this power and everything should function. And it doesn't seem like I broke anything, but these are connecting into this off-ramp, and that's just insane. This should be banned. Okay, and that's far from perfect, but I'm getting a bit tired of playing with this, so I think I'm gonna leave it there. And of course it broke again. You know what? It's fine. It can be broken. It's perfectly fine. I'm not even gonna worry about it. Not even gonna worry about it. Now we got some nice sports parks in here. I think we'd probably put some commercial alongside here. I wanna figure out how this is gonna extend down to here now, because it's gonna be a bit of a tricky one. We have our pillars going right through here, and because of that, it will make it difficult. But I think we could actually just barely make this one work. And I think I also want to get a road going a bit more diagonal, kind of something like this, following roughly the same angle as the actual highway, but I think we'll do a nice gentle curve instead, just because the curve to me looks a little bit better. Now the next one I could probably see being made is this one right here. I think what I'll do with this one instead is grab our wide alley and then just come up about 7 units and I'll curve into this road. That way it doesn't feel too cul-de-sac-y. It cuts the cul-de-sac down by a significant amount, and given that this is a sports park, there might be a time when we need an ambulance. Might as well make sure we're not creating a situation where an ambulance would struggle to get into this area because traffic for some reason isn't moving, or maybe the traffic can't move. Maybe it's super backed up, and that's a pretty big improvement. So next up, we have this area, and this is where the breakdown of our grid pattern is probably going to start to happen. Well, it's kind of already started to happen. So we need to know the measurements of the Birch Heights grid pattern. So we're roughly at 10 units, 20 units, so 10 by 20. And now that we have our 10 by 20, we can start working on this area. And this area is definitely a bit more hilly. There's a lot more things going on here. So I want to be careful because I don't want to disrespect the topography like right here. I'm going to immediately turn this to an elevated segment. Not perfect, but we'll fix all that stuff up later on. So in order to actually respect the topography right here, we're not going to start carving into the hills or going straight up it and getting 11% grades. Just feels a bit crazy. We're going to continue with our grid pattern. We'll keep constant slope on, but we'll do smaller segments. We'll go up our hill, and we'll probably continue this pretty much all the way until right about here, right until we meet our other arterial. Now it actually looks like we have somewhat of an opportunity right here. If we add a retaining wall onto this area, and maybe even one onto here, we'd have to continue this retaining wall, and I'm not too excited about doing that. I kind of like the idea of it ending there. But maybe if we did something like that, let's take a look and see how it would look. Now we did have to move a bit of soil, and it didn't even really give us all that nice of a retaining wall, but I think if we ignore the perfectionism, and instead think about getting some type of development on here, I think it'd actually be a pretty cool development to have. You'd be fairly close to a main road, which is also a highway road, but yeah, well, don't worry about that. It's not noisy, we promise. You'd have access to the Ferris wheel. I mean, it'd be a great view. definitely a great view. So let's get something on here. Before I do that though, I need to slope up to here just to get something a bit more clean. And now again, I think we're going to use our wide alley, and we got roughly about negative 5.9%, which isn't too bad. And we'll do a curve into this area. And now we just need to find a decently sized building that could go here. And I'm looking at the Ember Suites too, because it feels very appropriate for this area. I think this is going to be the one. Let's get a feel for it from all the way back here. Yeah, I think that right there is the absolute choice we're going with. And I want to get it close to the retaining wall, but not too close. So I'm thinking kind of like right here. And where are our connections? Oh, this building's backwards, isn't it? It's definitely backwards. Okay, let me flip this around really quickly. There we go. Now it's facing the right way. So I'm actually not seeing any. And I think that's because this building doesn't really have access for cars. No, it does not. Which means we have a bit of complexity with parking, so we'll need to get that figured out as well. And the building also seemed to be on a bit of a higher height, which I'm actually kind of fine with. I think we can still make that work. And actually, it'll probably end up looking nicer. And immediately I'm thinking, because this building doesn't actually have any access for vehicles, we could probably just throw a pedestrian road down here. And now we need to start thinking about parking. So we'll pull from this height right here, and we'll increase the size. And unfortunately, we'll have to do a little bit more work than I would have liked, I think. And I feel like a building of this size would probably need something way more substantial. Let's take a rough look and see. So we only have 46 households, which really isn't all that much. I think we will add this though, because again, I wouldn't expect there to be 46 households in this entire building. It almost seems unreasonable. And because it has a mix of commercial as well. So it's luxury homes on top of a clothing store. Every day can be full of style and sass. Yeah, okay. Right, sure. So I think we would want something a bit more substantial. And then the connection starts from right here. So we're gonna turn all of our snapping off, and we're gonna pull this in as close as we can get it. And that gives us something like that, which looks good. We'll fix up that surface, and there we go. And I think we might as well start the pedestrian road right here. And then I think it would be pretty important to block off any traffic who thinks they can come in here. All right, and that's pretty much this pedestrian little entryway done. It's a bit rough, and I'll probably clean it up during detailing just to make it look a little bit better, but I think, yeah, this is a little nice development right here. And for now, I don't want to spend any more time on this. So now that things are playing again, you should see some people start to come into this building. Not enough employees, don't worry. There's going to be 46 households right on top of you, so I don't think not enough employees should be a problem. And unfortunately, this didn't connect. Oh, it didn't connect because this building has two sides to it. So that should fix it. Honestly, what I might expect here anyways is actually two one-ways. So if we send this in, then we turn our snappings back on and get a nice little curve into here, we can create a custom version of this road that's only a one-way. And we'll call it one-way wide alley. And then essentially, I just want to flip this one, I believe. And I think for this one, we'll actually move the car lanes over. That way there's actually more space in the middle. So now we're gonna take our one-way wide alley. That's almost a tongue twister. I think we'll upgrade it to go this way. So you're on the road, you turn left into here, turn right, you can enter or exit, and then you turn left or right from here. Let's get these turns fixed. So we'll remove unsafe, and we'll add that in. And then maybe we'll just make this a key wall. Okay, then as long as we have this key wall in here, we could actually do a bit of decorating. And we could make this look really nice. Okay, and until we detail, I think that's going to do it for this little area right here. We still don't have any households in here, and that's kind of weird. I'm wondering why there's nothing. In terms of demand, we got pluses on every single one of our demands. So this definitely scares me a bit. And this area does have services, so it wouldn't be a lack of that. maybe aside from parks, but not a single household, not a single person. So if I zone some low density housing, do people actually move into these? Yeah, 2 residents, 3 residents. So maybe it's something to do with the building instead. If I grab this building, and let's say I place it right here, we get employees, but we're not getting anyone moving into the actual building. What if I grab another mixed use building and see if anyone follows in this one? And I'm too impatient to actually wait the required amount of time to figure out if this is going to have an impact, but 0 out of 16. So I have a new idea. What if I grab just any normal mixed use building? I won't do this one because these ones have a very, very high capacity. Let's go with just a normal level 1 building. We'll use this one right here. And immediately residents, immediately. So either this building is broken or something else is happening. Okay, what if we took our mixed use and placed it onto this hill? Yeah, we get households immediately. Super weird. I was gonna add 2 of them too, but I guess not. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there. I have one more idea. What if we take this building and we place it right here? Because maybe it's just an area thing. Maybe it just doesn't want to be there. Yeah, we get nothing. We get absolutely nothing. And the other signature building wasn't working either. I hope I didn't accidentally break anything. And it looks like we have waiting for ambulance, and that's because this area does not have a district. Let's get one added in. And I'm just going to call it Pinewood for now. Honestly, I may have used the name somewhere else. I just really didn't like Umberdale. And I'm wondering, where is our closest medical clinic? And it's pretty far. In terms of medical access for this area, it's honestly bad. And our options are pretty limited unless we go and unlock hospitals, which I think we will anyways. I don't know if we're going to place one in yet, but we're going to unlock it. And we have this urban medical center, which I kind of like. It looks really, really nice. We have this Eastern European hospital, which I love this for a hospital. I think this is such a nice asset. It's very, very big and feels to me like what a hospital should feel like. This feels like I live in the future and I don't live in real life, but that just might be a result of my surroundings. We also have this one, and this one's pretty nice too. But I think if I had to pick anyone for this area, it would definitely be the urban one. And honestly, we could just place it right here, right near our sports parks, which I think is a pretty decent idea. This road continues all the way down. It has decent access to our elementary school. Now, in an ideal City Skylines 2 world, we would have a light here, and if the light is red, or whatever color, that means the ambulances are coming out, so everyone has to stop and yield. We can't do that in the game, but I'm going to pretend that's happening here. And the way I think I could actually make that happen is by forcing all of these to stop, because then essentially this always has the right-of-way. Alright, and let's take a look at our upgrades really quickly. We have the specialized clinics, which makes this a bit more grand than I want it to be. And we have the ambulance depot, which is underground depot for several ambulances. Wow, it adds 30, and it's only 7,000 per month. Right now we have 10 ambulances. I think we're going to add this in. It almost feels a bit cheesy though, to be honest. So we're going to select Pinewood. It'll serve these 3 areas as well. It'll serve Raven Rock End and whatever this area is. It'll serve Claywood. Let's say Hickory, our public school, our bus station, Ashland Heights, and I believe Cedar Heights has its own dedicated medical clinic, but I'm honestly not seeing it. I guess this one right here would be the one that serves it. So we can remove Claywood. And then I'll let the rest of this spillover happen. Wow, this poor medical clinic is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I kind of feel bad for it. Now we still have an insane amount of capacity here, so let's get this next district added in. And it was previously called Maple Crest, so I'll just call it Maplewood. And I think we're going to extend Claywood just to this road right here. Alright, now getting back on focus, 3 out of 40 ambulances used. So we'll set this to Maplewood. Honestly, we could probably set it to Rosewood as well. It would have decent access. I feel like the further we go, the more we start to stretch this believability though. And ideally it wouldn't be crossing through this area, just because it would be creating decent traffic. And unfortunately, this doesn't even have an operating district. So we will set it to be the entirety of Claywood. And in terms of children in Claywood, what are we looking at? 2,000 children, yeah. So plus the new children that'll be in this area, we're definitely gonna need another school. And you know what I'm thinking? Maybe we just snap onto this road as well. And we can say this is somewhat of an extension. So maybe this school is just getting bigger. So we'll move our park, ideally away from our taxi stand. We may need to rework this. If we just get as close as we can to this building and just try and make it seem like it's one cohesive building, I think we can do it. Something like that. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much perfect. I don't think I can ask for any better without making it worse, so I'm gonna leave it there. We'll get rid of all the hedges because we'll have to clean that up later on. And we're immediately gonna add in our upgrades. So we have the urban playground. We already have one of these in our city. I don't think I wanna add another one. And this is the extension wing that adds capacity. I would have preferred not to add it. That way there's a bit of difference between the two buildings, but we need the capacity, so we're gonna add it in. And then we'll select this school to operate in Pinewood, Claywood, and I think that's gonna be it. I think if we go any further than this, we're gonna be stretching this elementary school's capacity way too far. And I believe our high school is right here, and it's actually full. Not too bad, not too bad. So let's add some extra capacity to our school. And it's a bit unfortunate because we don't have all that much space to work with. So I'm gonna remove snapping and see if it would fit right here. And it just barely would. It overlap a little bit with our track. Or our track, that's not even a track, that's a path. That's a dirt path. But if we line it up right here, that should give enough space. Shout out to the commenter who showed me that you could click the subcategory or the sub-elements of sub-buildings and extensions. Because if I didn't know that, I wouldn't have done this. So we're gonna get rid of these points right here, and I think really that's kind of the extent of what we'll do. Maybe we'll add this alongside this road, and we'll connect into this path right here. We could also add our gymnasium, and that gives us an extra 240 capacity. I kind of liked the basketball courts, but at this point in time, it's capacity over basketball courts, and I think we're gonna go with it. We're also gonna give this an operating district. And we'll need to be careful because I know our schooling is pretty limited. Back when this area was being made, or the episode when this area was being made, we were pretty broke. So I think we'll set these areas, but it might be important to actually check roughly how many teenagers there is. So we have 1,200 teens in Claywood alone, and in Ashland Heights, we have 474. Okay, that's actually not that bad. In Cedar Heights, we have 628. Hickory Bluff, we have 400. So honestly, it's not all that bad. Right now, this school has 1,940 capacity. We can definitely add another one over here, but I think it should be able to service this area decently, plus the one we add over here. And given the kind of room available and the way everything's looking right now, I feel like the modern high school is probably gonna be our best bet. It needs to be decently far away from our current high school. Otherwise, just them too close together doesn't really feel right to me. And I misclicked. I wasn't even gonna place it here, but you know what? I might as well now. Maybe it's a bit too close to our water. Maybe the highway would be pretty disturbing, but I think it'll be fine. And then we'll set this to Pinewood, Claywood. I feel like Claywood definitely needs to get cut down a bit. Maplewood, Valley Brook. Honestly, we'll just set it to all these areas. And Raven Rock End. That'll be the extent of how far this high school reaches. Okay, and then for death care in this area, I think we actually should be fine. We have this massive unit of a building that's running pretty smoothly. Processing speed 170 at 150, maybe not perfect, but we have 17 out of 20 hearses gathering. I feel like if we add this building to also serve here, it should be fine. We might have a few problems, but for now, we'll allow it to serve this area. And if we run into any, then we'll make an upgrade. I believe we should be fine for fire. We have our fire department right here. And let's just make sure this is operating in districts. So I believe this will be the extent of this firehouse. I'm pretty sure we have a fire station over here, don't we? No, we have a medical clinic, a crematorium, and a small police station. I think we'll actually add it over here with everything else. It'll be a bit close to this fire station, but I'm fine with it. And again, we're gonna place this closer to our highway. It's a very noisy use, and it just makes sense to have here instead. So we'll do something like that right there. In terms of upgrades, we have our disaster response unit. That's a bit close, but there still is a decent gap. And our tower, we definitely can't add in, so we won't. And right away, it's going to serve a few different areas. And actually, where are you going? Where are they going? Okay, that's actually not too bad. I believe it's because this one has the disaster response unit. Either way though, we're going to set it to only operate in these districts right here. And for this fire station, I believe it's not actually set to any districts, is it? Okay, it is. We're going to remove Pinewood and Maplewood. We'll keep Claywood because it's basically in Claywood. And we're going to add the extra 4 fire engines because I noticed we had some houses burning down over here. And ideally we prevent that from happening. Okay, then we have our police coverage and we should honestly be really fine. We have our Southwestern Police Station right here. It is doing a lot of patrolling though. But our coverage is pretty strong. Pretty much everywhere. If we set it to Pinewood and Maplewood, does it get bad? Not really. We can see that these streets are just a little bit weak. And I'm wondering if that's just because we didn't pull it all the way over. Yeah, so we didn't pull it all the way over, so that's why it has weak coverage. That's fine. In terms of our internet, we're doing very, very well pretty much across the entire board. So we don't need to worry about that one. We will need to worry about mail though. And surprisingly, it somehow has good coverage already, and I guess that's because there's a post office right here. Still, I think maybe we could add one more. And yeah, I think we'll just add it right here. And then we'll select this to only operate in these districts right here. And in terms of our post office in this area, where is it operating? Oh, just everywhere. That's cool. Yeah, just do whatever you want. Drive all the way down over there. I'm sure that's great. We'll set it to operate in these areas. It might even be a stretch given the building's capacity. Now, if we just turn off everything except for post-service coverage, we're pretty much green all over except for here. This is our poor area. It doesn't, it has its own problems that will be fixed sometime soon. Surprisingly, our university is actually pretty weak. It's a pretty easy fix though. We're just gonna add one right here. And I'm not sure if our cemetery would want one, but we can give one to our cemetery as well. Then we won't go too hard with our mailboxes in this area, just because we do have the post office right here. Okay, so assuming I'm not forgetting anything, our services are pretty good in this entire area. I'm only gonna add one more thing, and that's some parking for our medical clinic, because right now it's sorely lacking. And I think we'll add one of these small parking buildings right here, and then maybe just another small parking building right here as well. We can build kind of like a mall area. And so we'll want a few different buildings. We'll want the supermarket, we'll want the marketplace too, and I believe we'll also grab this Eastern European shopping center, and we'll add that into the mix as well. And for right now, this should do. I can't really find anything else that would fit really well into this, so I'm gonna start with this. Okay, that's a bit more than I wanted to do, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta do what you don't want to do. Now we'll start with the biggest assets and work our way from there. So I think having this one probably somewhere over here, a little bit more on its own. And then I think we'll place the Morrissey's supermarket pretty much right here. And then I think closer to this area, we'll have our one-stop station. Then right here, we can have our Shard Arena. And last but not least, we have our Eastern European Shopping Center. I think for this one, we'll place it right here. Now I'm gonna grab our wide alley, and I'm just gonna snap it to the side of this building first. I'm gonna grab all of this and set it to be the same height as the building. We'll connect this point into our road. And wow, that's actually looking a bit rough. And that's because constant slope is off. So let's try this again, this time with it on. There we go, that's a bit nicer. We're gonna turn off our snap to zoning cell length so we can go right about here. And then we'll pull that right in as well. And how does that look? Is that doing anything too crazy? Kind of. So maybe we'll move this over just a bit. And I think honestly this one should get upgraded down anyways. So we'll pull that one to right there. Then it meets up with this little entrance. Now we'll connect that one into there. All this was so we could pull it just a bit further. There we go. That's a bit better. Now you're not walking out into the road. And now this building needs some parking. All of these buildings come with parking, and I think it's a fair amount of parking for what they are. So I'm only going to worry about parking for this one right here. Okay, now that's probably overkill for the lighting, but I think the parking lots look weird if they don't have the lighting. So let's go to nighttime really quickly and see what we get. If I'm comparing this to over here, they feel very, very similar. I just realized I could have used these ones. Instead, I took a normal street light and just placed two of them side by side. These ones would have been so much easier. Really, this isn't meant to be nice parking. This is just meant to be functional parking. I think the only thing that I'll tweak is just having a few trees along here. And I'm wondering, what if we took these small rocks and we just added them in like so? Kind of something like that. I like it. It gives it a bit of depth. I wouldn't say it's exactly what I envisioned, but it's fine. It should work. Now I'm going to back away for now because this isn't the detailing section. I'm going to give this area another entry point because one just isn't enough. And I think we're just going to keep it simple and do something like that right there. We're going to remove the lights here though. I don't want to see lights. And then I'm noticing that we have this small little dip right here. I think we could probably turn this into a small little water feature. There we go. And we'll do something like that. Nice little water feature right here. Help break up some of this concrete. And then for the meantime, I'm just going to place a bus stop there. And I believe, unfortunately, right here. It's a bit rough, but it'll be a reminder to myself to add in buses. And for now, until detailing, this area is pretty much ready to go. We should probably give it a district, though. Otherwise, we're going to watch this area burn. Willow Springs, and it has 1,700 employees. That's awesome. Awesome. What's our unemployment at? 4.9%. Okay, that's respectable. It's not great, but it's definitely respectable. Now just applying some last minute fixes here. I think this road should definitely connect in. Otherwise, this area is just a little bit too disconnected. And this is pretty much a through road, so we could probably connect this one in as well. I don't want to go too crazy on the connections right here. I think it's looking really good, and things are getting a bit more cohesive now. Things are feeling a bit more connected, especially with this new interchange. The only thing I really don't like about this interchange is how close it is to this one. It feels way too close, just way too close. But given that we're transitioning to our bridge here, and we had this arterial running through here, I just didn't really see another way. Do we have anyone? No, still 0 residents. That's so weird. So weird. Now in this area, I think we actually do need a normal park now. We have our sports parks. In fact, we have 2 of them. But I do think we need just something a bit more everyday. And honestly, I think we could actually take the Color Plaza and put it right here. It doesn't want to, but it definitely will work. Something like that right there. I think that works really well. All right, then we did some grading here just to make these areas a bit easier to develop. And this road also had a crazy dip, so I just fixed that. Now for zoning, I'm kind of in a bit of a battle. Claywood is primarily North American row homes. I'm not sure how much I want to go against that North American row homey feel. And I also want to be careful because I don't know if this area would be all that dense compared to everything else. We have Birch Heights, which is our densest area, then Ashland Heights, and this part of Claywood alone is another dense area. So I don't think I'm going to go too dense here for now, but we will increase our density over time. And now I want to find some of our biggest buildings first. And then I'm thinking maybe we'll just have one bigger building right there, and then maybe a bit more density right on that side. We'll swap back down to medium. We'll do something kind of like that right there. Then we'll have a few of these medium densities. And then as of right now, I think for the rest of it, we'll just go row homes. And I say that just because I don't want to make this area too dense, but also single family homes would not be appropriate here. All right, and while this finishes up, I'm going to assign services to Willow Springs. I was actually going to do something else, but I think this is a bit more pressing. And I don't think we're missing anything. Now we'll zone out Maplewood. And for Maplewood, for right now, I honestly just see it being very similar to this district right here. Just a bunch of waterfront housing. So that's what we're going to do. But we'll have one spot right here for a bit more medium density, and another spot right here for medium density. Still undecided how that will look right now though, just because we have this track running through here. Honestly, I think in the meantime, I may not even zone this out yet. I may just get rid of it. I might just add some trees through here. So let's focus on our little medium density kind of circle of buildings that we'll have here. We'll just give ourselves a good amount of room to work with. And then really, I think we could probably keep this pretty simple. We can just use a few of these and just vary it up a bit. So one right there. And I think something like that right there should work really well. Now, I don't really want to see this kind of slope and bend down a bit. So we will add a retaining wall here. There we go. Now we have a nice little apartment complex right here. Now we'll grab our North American low density waterfront housing. And for the meantime, we're just going to add that in here. Okay, and in Maplewood, we've added 698 residents. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Do we have services here? Yes, we do. Okay, so don't going to worry about that. It will need a school, and I think this elementary school is going to be the school for Maplewood. It's not too far of a distance, and I think it's actually pretty reasonable to drive down there. Now, looking across from Willow Springs, it definitely seems like it needs a little commercial area, and we have no commercial demand, so never mind. We'll add that in once we get some commercial demand. And I was looking at this park right here. Our maintenance is a bit rough, so we're going to add a park maintenance facility in. I'm trying to think of where a good place for that would be. We have our park maintenance facility over here. And actually, while we're over here, we might as well add in another building as well. All right, that looks super messy, but it will do for now. And I'm wondering if we had park maintenance over here. We did. Okay, but we don't have any upgrades for it, so we'll definitely add some of these in. I think what we'll do is we'll actually place them somewhat over here. Because then it almost feels like it's actually a part of the train depot, I believe it's called. Yeah, like I could almost believe that. I think if we change the color, that way it doesn't actually match the building. Now it's a lot easier for me to believe that these sub-buildings for the garages could be like warehouse or storage space for our rail depot. And in total, that gives us 35 vehicles, which is just great because I think we definitely need it. If we look at our actual park maintenance, oh, it doesn't show it to us. That's a bit weird to me that we don't have a view just to give us a rough idea of park maintenance. We have our park coverage, we have our park maintenance vehicles, but we do not have anything to do with the actual park maintenance. Wow, we only have 2? I guess we were broke for so long that it was so difficult. And I think to improve this a step further, we'll also increase our Parks and Recreation budget to 10% more, which will give us a service efficiency of 8%. We'll do plus 10%, so 112%. And I also just noticed that our roads were at 50%. That must be a really, really old setting for our service fee, so we'll bump that back up to 100%. And this building has high resource costs. Why are they storing concrete? I believe this is a bug, because right now they're storing concrete, which means they can't store more electronics, but they shouldn't have any problems with resources. So if we read it, the company has trouble procuring resources and staying profitable. I believe we can interpret that 2 ways. 1, the resources cost too much. 2, we don't produce enough of them locally, or we don't have storage near it, which in my opinion is a pretty easy fix. If we get lucky, that is. So I think to solve this high resource cost, all we're going to do is just put a little warehouse area right here. And we'll use the pollution-free warehouse zoning to accomplish this. And that's rough because I'm not seeing any spawn in. So the game will spawn warehouses when demanded types exist. There is one demanded type. It doesn't show us what it is. I'm going to assume maybe it's electronics. Unfortunately, nothing is spawning in, so I'll try this on my own. And yeah, still nothing. What if we added in our clean industrial manufacturing? Okay, so this one produces electronics, which is great. Maybe that'll help. Either way though, we can have a small little industrial sector right here. We're just going to use the clean industrial manufacturing to get that. Okay, now we have a lot to detail, and I think it's probably time to... Oh, wait. What is going on here? No vehicles. Ooh, that's not very good at all. This is for a tram, right? Yeah, that's what I was concerned about. The reason why this concerns me is because we have already added in 2 tram depots, and we only have 1 upgrade left, and it's only going to give us 5 more vehicles. Let's add them in. And I really hope we won't need any more because I don't know where else to place another tram depot at this point in time. I already need to fill in this area pretty badly so it doesn't look so rough. And I think we could probably get away with it right here, to be honest. Let's quickly get this done. We have to use the clean industrial manufacturing because the wind will blow directly into all these houses, and we definitely don't want that. Okay, and that's going to help this area blend in a bit more. Eventually I'll have everything zoned out here, but for now, I don't really want to worry about this area. Either way, we've got a lot of detailing to do, and I really want to jump into it because there's just so much to do. But for all of our low residential, I'm going to keep it super simple. We're going to have trees right through the middle, and that's pretty much it. I don't want to get too crazy with this because it'll probably change in the future. For here, I'm going to give this my usual treatment. I want lots of parks through here. I want to darken up some of these parking lots. I want to make it feel a bit old and a bit new at the same time. We'll add some paths through some of these houses. Let's jump in. All right, and that's pretty much going to be it for detailing for now. There's still a bit more work we'll need to do throughout the upcoming episodes, but I think this should do the trick. Really just tried to replicate what was already going on in Claywood, and I think it came out pretty nice. It really is a big improvement for what we had before. There's no connectivity into here, and now there's a good amount. Definitely, probably still a bit more room for connectivity, but again, for now, I think this should really do the trick. Now we're gonna go over here and we're gonna change Rosewood. The new name will be the Ashland Marina. We're gonna connect up a quick road to it. Now these areas have access, and oops, I almost forgot to connect this path back in. And really the goal is just to give more access between these two areas instead of just having paths. Then there was also some feedback about replacing some of these low density commercial buildings with higher density commercial buildings. And to me that makes sense. So I'm gonna start right here. I think we'll replace this one right here with something kind of like this. But all we're gonna do is just rotate it a bit. And wow, I feel like I've never seen this building. I like it a lot. It's not gonna fit in this area, but I'm gonna favorite this for later on. We have about 3 units of lot depth to work with, and apparently that gives us absolutely nothing. That's kind of surprising. And I'm thinking we could probably just place a few of these down. And then pretty much just do something like that. And I think that's kind of where we'll leave this area off for density. Otherwise, this area will just get way too dense. And I think it's already doing pretty well as it is. 10,000 residents. In Birch Heights, we have 15,000. And then in Upper Birch, we have roughly 9,000. Even in the Ashland Marina alone, we have 2,000. We'll change this from the Sunnyvale Industrial Park to be the Rosewood Industrial Park. And I think for now, that's what we're gonna call it. So let's jump into a quick before and after. And that's a wrap. It was about 8 hours of gameplay that I tried to compress into 1 hour. And to all the people who made it to the end, super big thank you. Really hope you enjoyed. As always, super big shout out to our amazing Patreon members, Jake Hill, Gary Key, Deku, Ganger, Griffin, and Alpha Supreme. If you want to check out Ashland for yourself, or just help support the channel, head over to Patreon. If you haven't already, a like, comment, and subscription really go a long way. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.